Hi everyone, welcome back to Diet Rocks, and today I'm going to show you how to make my mushroom risotto. So a full list of all of the ingredients and the method will be in the description box, but I'm not very good for quantities. I just throw it in. I'm a throw it in cook. But in this pot I have chopped up one red onion, it's a medium size, and about half or generous half of one of these peppers. You can use any capsicum or any sweet red pepper. And I've got a variety of mushrooms and I've already chopped most of them. I have a mixture of oyster mushrooms, woodland mushrooms, portabello, well they're baby portabello, and I hate saying it, shiitake. I always like to say it exactly how it's written, and it's not a shitake, it's a shiitake. So that's what I'm using, a mixture of all of those chopped up. Now I keep some back because, as you know, when you cook with mushrooms they do cook down, so I usually add a few more as I'm going through it, so it's not all completely, you know, gone. So in the pan I'll turn my wok, put it on, and I'm going to give it a really generous coat with frylight. Now if you're not on a diet, then a tablespoon of olive oil or the like is fine, but this is going to be Slimming World or Weight Watchers compatible. So I'm giving it a good old spray up, and I'm going to continue to spray as well because the mushrooms will absorb a lot. But for now I'm just going to put in the onion and pepper, and there's a bit that escaped, and I'm just going to cook those down a little bit. So I also need to prepare my stock, and I'm going to make just a chicken stock. You can make whichever chicken stock you want, but I usually do quite a large jug, and in that jug I put a teaspoon of paprika, a very large teaspoon or two of lazy ginger, I'll show you that in a moment, and a stock pot because it makes quite a large size, and then that's what I use for my moisture. So I'm just going to let those cook for a little while and prepare my stock, and I'll pause this for a moment and come back to you. As you can see, they're cooking down, and I've now got my stock, which is here, and all of the stuff's in there, and this is the crushed ginger that I put in there. You can just get your own. I do have a little ginger mincer thing, but it's just as simple to squirt that in. I also put in a clove of garlic that I crush. I just need to go and get that because I've forgotten it. Hold on one moment. Here we are. So all I do is get my knife, usually it's a heavier knife, and I just lean down on it and crush that a little. So I take off any of the skin that's left and I just pop that in. Now if you cook with your garlic whole like that, it has a completely different taste. If you crush it and just pop it in, you can always take it out, you can find it, if you're not a lover of garlic. I'm not particularly. Gary doesn't mind if he chomps into that, but not for me. So I usually do that. It has a completely different taste. It's a little more sweeter and not quite so harsh with the garlic taste. So I'm just going to give it another little zhuzh with the sprayer, and I'm going to pop in some of my mushrooms. Not all of them, just this pot are going in for now. And these are baby portabellos, woodland mushrooms, and a little bit of the oyster. So they're all going in. They're all nice different colours, which is one of the things I really like about them. They're not just white. You can put just normal mushrooms in. That's you don't have to use fancy mushrooms by any means. So, but they do absorb a lot of moisture, so you do need to keep giving it a little bit more of this. Normally speaking, I don't use the frylight. I'll use one of the liquids, just the spray liquids, and that way you're using maybe rapeseed or olive oil but you're only getting a little light coating, so it's still lower calorie than if you were putting in a big glug of oil into the bottom of your pan. So just going to let it cook down for a little while, and then I'm going to add some rice. Now the rice that the rice I've got is just risotto rice, but you can, usually it will say Arborio, and that's the rice I use. Now I'm making quite a large one today. Last time I just made one for Gary, and that would make two, because it made him a dinner and a lunch, and he had quite a large dinner, but you could get two from that. So this one I'm going to make larger, and you can see I used about a third of the pack. So this time I'm going to put in quite a bit more than that. So you pop that in, and I'm going to leave just a little bit, because this one's got to feed more. And then you just stir that around, and it will kind of hiss. You can hear this little hissing sound as it incorporates all those flavours. Now Arborio rice is different. I might just put the whole lot in actually. It is going to be a big one, so it seems silly to leave that little bit. Arborio rice is different from, say, paella rice. It's a different shape. It's more like a pudding rice, and it's designed to absorb the flavours. So now, because I don't want it to start sticking and burning, I'm just going to add a bit of my liquid, and it will go a bit balmy, but then you just keep stirring. And that's the simple and the secret behind a good risotto, is you just add a little bit of the liquid and you stir it until it's absorbed, and then you add a bit more. Now because I've got quite a large amount of rice here, I will need to make more stock halfway through the cooking, and put some more stock through it, because it won't be enough to completely cook this. So you can add anything you want. If you want to put sweet corn in, you want to put chicken, so you've got a chicken and mushroom, you can do, basically you can risotto anything. So now I'm going to give up with this, because this is the one I like to stir. I like a good solid stirrer. So that's absorbed quite a lot already, so I'm going to put some more in, and now it will slow down, and you just keep moving it about so it doesn't stick, and it absorbs. You can turn it down just a little bit. We don't need it to completely fiercely boil, so you want it to be, it'll take a little while with this one. It will come down to a simmer. You want a little, you don't want a gentle simmer, you want it to absorb. So no more than that, I would say. And you just keep doing that. Every time it absorbs it and it's looking like it's going to start to stick, you put a little bit more in. And this is all you do with a risotto. Now with a paella, if I were making a paella, I would buy specific paella rice. And what you do is you put all of your ingredients in the pan, and you can put anything in there. And then you just put all of the liquid in, and it will just let it boil down. And that's how you make a risotto. Sorry, a paella. This is how you make a risotto. So that's the difference. The rice is different. This one is designed to be like shorter, more kind of not such large grains, as you can see. And that's designed really to absorb flavours, whereas the long grain ones are not so much. But if you ever find you haven't got any Arborio and you can't get this, you can use pudding rice. They are very, very similar. The pudding rice just has a little bit more of a pearly look to it, but I have used it before. It's been absolutely fine. And it's also a lot cheaper. So just a little tip. So if you can add whatever you want as well, if you've got any preferences, but that's what I'm not going to add anything else to this. And the ginger just makes it that little bit nicer, I think. I was a little bit worried when I first put that in. I didn't know if it was going to go down very well, but it was absolutely lovely. So I'm going to pause it for a little while, and I'm going to make a little bit more stock because I know I'm going to need it, and I will come back to you. So in my stock, I put 2 OXO cubes and 1 of the Knorr stock pots. But of course, you know, if you have a favourite chicken stock then you just use that. But because it is quite a large one, that's why I put in more OXO. So if I add any more moisture, if I got to the end of my stock and I felt like, you taste it and you can tell if it's cooked or if it's still a little bit too gritty, the rice, then you just add another OXO cube. I wouldn't use any more stock pots, purely for the calories. I mean, unless you're not watching your weight, then of course that's fine. But I don't know at this precise moment how many Syns are in them. I will, once I've finished this and I go to put this online, I will add up the Syn value. It's not going to be massive because mushrooms and rice and all of those things are free, and there's very little oil or fats in this. It's just the frylight, which is free, so it's not going to be huge anyway. So that's it. We just keep stirring, adding the moisture, stirring, adding more moisture once it goes down. Just do not let it stick. Unfortunately, it's not one of the dishes that you can leave. You have to stay with it and you have to cook it. So as this boils down and there's the rice plumps, then I will add more mushrooms to, I have them all ready here, and I've got some more. I can add some now halfway through, and I've also got some more sitting here waiting, and I will add them as we go along. It just keeps some of them fresher, if you like, because you know what, mushrooms do tend to go floppy and boil down, sort of thing, cook down, should I say. So that's it. That's kind of going to get a little boring to watch me do this, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the heat up a little. No, it's bubbling quite nicely. I thought it had stopped quite a bit, but it hasn't. So you just don't want it to go too slowly. As long as it's continuing to bubble, I will turn it up just a bit more, because I turned it down. I thought it was too fierce, but it's still too much. I think because the liquid sits there, it's no longer boiling, and it takes a little while for that to come back up to temperature. But you can just keep pulling it away from the sides to make sure you incorporate all the little stray pieces of rice that get stuck at the top, and just keep stirring. And then you'll know when your moisture is running low, just add a little bit more of your stock. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to pause it and carry on doing this, and I'll come back to you when I add anything new. As this cooks down, and the rice starts to absorb, you'll see it plump up, but you'll also see this whole thing look more creamy, and you'll know once it's done because it just looks really, really creamy. So that's doing nicely. So I'm just going to show you a bit more about the mushrooms that I've used. Like I said, I had baby portobellos, and I had woodland, and some oyster mushrooms, and some shiitake. So, but you can just use button mushrooms if you want to. But I kind of like these. These are kind of nice colours. Adds a little bit more to it, I think. So just keep stirring and adding more liquid, and you can see it's plumping up now a little bit. It's nowhere near done though, and looking creamier. So I will add some more mushrooms shortly as I go through it. I'm just going to chop some up and I'll come back to you. Okay, so about 3/4 or 2/3 of the way through cooking, I'm going to add the last of the mushrooms. Gary likes to have a lot of mushrooms, so that's why I'm putting some more. Plus this is going to be a lot larger by the time this plumps up. So I'm not going to add any more after this one, although I do have some more. So if it looked like it needed it, then I can. And it doesn't take long for them to cook, which, you know, is a good thing. So that's that, and you just carry on basically until it's done. So that's it. I'm going to pause it then, and I'll come back to you when we're a lot nearer. So I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm going to zoom in, see if I can show you. But as this starts to cook, you can see it's getting much more creamy. And as you're stirring, the bits that stick to the side, they look a little more, you can tell that they've just got that sweetness of the reduction in them, so it starts to take on a different sort of feel to it, like a stickier, yummier kind of feel. So I just thought I'd kind of show you. You can see it's just creamier, and that's what you want. And just keep adding the moisture, doing the stirring. It is something, like I said, you can't leave this. You have no choice but to carry on, otherwise it sticks. Incidentally, if it did stick, a little tip for you: take it off the heat and put it on the other side, away from the heat. Hold on a few minutes, put some more moisture in, give it a stir, and it should lift off, as long as you haven't burnt it. But if you've just walked away for a bit and you come back and it's all sticking to the bottom, then that's what you can do. Just remove it from the heat and it will lift off. Just a little tip. So I'm going to pause it then, because just watching me stir this is a little boring, and I'll come back to you when we're much nearer the end. As it gets closer to the end and it's thicker, I do tend to drop the heat down just a little bit, because it's harder to stop it from sticking. You have to keep moving it if you want it to stop it from sticking. But I've got my little spoon at the ready and I'm ready to sort of taste it. Obviously I've got to let it cool down. Blow it. Just needs a little bit more. The rice is almost ready. Just a little bit, what you might call al dente for now. By the time that's absorbed, that should be it. And then I just need Gary to come and taste it. So you need to put some seasoning, however you prefer it. So put a bit of black pepper and a little salt, not too much, because, you know, not good for you, allegedly. And then just keep stirring. Nearly done, and it does taste lovely. But you know, just make sure if you're making a large one that you use enough of the chicken flavouring in your stock, because that makes all the difference. And if you want to, you can add more peppers, but I don't think that Gary's a massive lover of lots of peppers, so I just put a small amount in. But you don't even need them really. The actual ingredients that you want to put in is really kind of your preference, but as long as you keep it moving, then it shouldn't stick. So I'm going to pause it until the end now. We're getting really nearly there, so shouldn't take too much longer. Really nearly. That didn't sound particularly good, did it? Never mind. So I will see you probably another 5 minutes or so and it'll be done. Right, so this is more or less done now. It just depends on your personal preference how much moisture you actually like in your rice. So if you want some sauce in your rice, or if you like it to actually boil down so that it won't be dry. There will always be a creaminess to it. But for me, it's just it's getting there, but it's not quite. There's still a little bit too much sauce in there. But it's actually cooked now, so it's just a case of getting that to where I want it to be, and then making sure I don't eat the garlic. That's the other thing. Yes, Gary likes it, so he can have it. But it's near enough there. You can see it's quite creamy and it's nice and pearly looking. That's where it's plumped up. So just a little bit longer and then it'll be done. Okay, so I think we're done. That's quite creamy still, a little bit of moisture in there. I do like a little bit of sauce. So the proof of the pudding, as they say, it's not a pudding, I know, is in the tasting. So Gary, go and have a little taste. See what you think. I'm waiting for the blah. Hot?
Nice.
Should have blown it.
That's very nice.
Yeah?
I like it.
Cool. That's all I needed to know. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you do enjoy it. What I like about these particular mushrooms is so many that I've seen. Just keep it stirring while we're talking. So many of these mushroom risottos that I've seen in people make have been grey, because obviously the colour of mushrooms when they cook is a bit of a dirty grey, but this comes out a really kind of nice brown, because all of those mushrooms are different mushrooms, you know, so the woodland ones and the portobellos have brown caps, and I think it does come out a little bit more golden. Just going to taste it myself without burning myself like Gary. Yeah, that's good. Not bad at all. So, hope you've enjoyed that. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up. And if you could, please like and share this video, because I'm trying to grow this channel. So thank you for watching. Bye for now until the next time.